Because there's no sense in me teaching you how to do it if you don't have your organization together first.
Probably right after New Year's.
Not to be nosy, where are you from?
I'm from Lebanon County.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And that is a nosy question, doggone it.
Now, I had something else that maybe you might know. At what point does the county Republican committees, I guess every county has a Republican
Right.
committee. At what point do they actually become active in the presidential election process?
They usually don't.
In other words, I didn't know if we should interface with them at some point in time.
I'd stay away from them. I mean, seriously, it's nice to become friendly with those folks, but let me tell you, and this is just based on my own experience with the Lebanon County Republican Committee. Those folks get put in that position because they're friends of someone. It's kind of a cronies. There is a handful of Republican committee people in my county who actually care about quote-unquote Republican values and care about getting the best candidate elected. But a lot of people who are on these local committees, it's more of a socializing thing for them. And if you go out on voting day, for instance, I went out on election day in November when we were absolutely trying to get people out to work the polls to convince people to vote no on judges, and I was appalled by the fact that I only found 2 Republican committee people at their polls on election day. Now that's their job. That is one of the main parts of their job, is to stand at the polls on election day and say, vote for the Republican ticket, vote for the Republican ticket. Only 2 in Lebanon County that I could find. I was appalling. So, I mean, you have to understand how those people get there, why they're there. And like I said, there's a lot of very, very nice people on the Republican committee, but they're not as interested in getting Ron Paul elected as you are. So if you want to be chummy with them, that's okay. Don't give them any of your state secrets, though.
Yeah, but if in fact Ron Paul becomes the primary, against whoever the Democratic, you would think that that would be their main goal, is to make sure Ron Paul
Absolutely,
wins.
after the primary.
Yeah, okay.
After the primary,
Well,
they will be part of that. I mean, if Ron Paul wins the primary and becomes the nominee in November of next year, yeah, the Republican committee people will be out there at the polls saying, vote for him, not
I think
Kerry.
that's what I meant was, when do they actually become the most active? And that they would be at that point, I guess.
Yeah, but don't count on it. Build your own organization, because you can trust people in the Ron Paul organization. I'm not saying you can't trust people in the Republican organization, but you never know who is going to be working against you. Here, you know who's working for you.
Right.
How many spies from the Republican Party do we have here?
Get the news.
How many establishment moles are here tonight?
We're real Republicans, not the
Any other questions about this very, very critical process of, getting together with other people in your congressional district, selecting delegates to run, and gathering signatures, which has to start, by the way, did I say it's going to be 5 weeks from today?
Yes.
5 weeks, folks.
January 22nd till February 12th. That's the time frame we have to gather those signatures.
That's right.
To be gathered in that time frame? We can't
Yep.
gather them now?
Nope. You've got a 3-week window.
We can get the paperwork now.
Here's the best part, folks. After you've gone out and you've worked your butt off in the cold of January and February, and you've gotten your 500 signatures, guess what you're going to have to do for the week after that? You're going to have to be prepared to defend those signatures. Because when the establishment finds out that the delegate you got on the ballot is a supporter of Ron Paul, they're going to attempt every trick in the book to challenge you off the ballot in court. In court. So you have to have somebody who knows a lawyer who can defend against that thing.
I got that part covered.
You got that covered? Well, I happen to have one of the best election lawyers in Pennsylvania. No, I'm not saying give up. I'm saying, in case, I can refer you to them. Lawyers do not work for free. And this is why it's so important that once you have your congressional organization together and your delegates picked, that you know that your people are going to go out and gather good signatures. It's the best defense against a challenge is not to let them challenge you at all. And you do that by collecting a significant amount of signatures well beyond what you actually need and good quality signatures. Yes, sir.
Would it be wise to talk with a lawyer beforehand to try no. No?
No, not necessary, and you can't afford it.
Are there specific ways that they do challenge petitions?
Yes,
Like
but
typical ways that they usually do it all the time?
absolutely. But if I come back and I teach you folks how to gather signatures, it will be ironclad. If you get signatures in the way I teach you, it will be ironclad and unchallengeable if you get a sufficient amount of them.
So what you're saying is we shouldn't go door to door and be like, hey, vote for the Republican Party, sign this petition. We should be sitting down, taking the time to talk to each and every person who signs that so that they know that they have to back it up later if it comes into question?
No, you don't have to do that. And you're not going to knock on anybody's door and say, we want you to vote Republican. You're going to go to people's doors who you know are already Republican. Why? Because you're going to get that information from the street list that you get at your county election board. They'll tell you who the Republican. There's so much information you can get for free. It's really cool. Any other questions?
I was just wondering, Jim, you guys have this end of things covered then? You or Dave are gonna take care of getting this stuff ready? Because we'll go collect signatures in Perry County, but we need the paperwork, that's all I'm saying. So you have somebody that's gonna take care of this, that will be ready to
We're gonna
collect
get somebody
signatures?
to take care of it.
No,
Huh?
Jim is not going to take care of it.
I'm not gonna take care of
Okay,
it, but
I'm
we're gonna
just
get
saying,
somebody who
we
is
gotta
gonna
get
take
our
care of
game
it.
together here.
Andrew just volunteered to do the 17th district to
Good
take
man,
care of
Andrew.
delegates. So he's now an assistant organizer. Hey, you get to play with stuff on. You can go in there and you can actually delete people out of the group now.
Don't diminish his importance by calling him an assistant. Call him the Congressional District Liaison.
Oh yeah. You just-
That's important.
That's the last thing I need.
So who wants to be the 19th?
I would be happy to, I might need some help, Dave, but why don't the two of us do
Well,
it?
Terry, what district are you in?
19.
Well, there you go.
I'm-
Because you're going to go down and do it tomorrow anyways.
We need to coordinate with the York boys. about
Yes, you
this.
do. Yes, we do. Everybody in our part of the Cumberland County has to coordinate with them. You're
When
at
are we gonna
17th.
have those papers in our hands to start collecting signatures then? Sometime in early January, is that the plan?
Well, we could have sent away for them on December 5th, but I guess if we go down.
No, they will not be sent out till after January 1st.
Yes.
The packets of information are going to be sent out at that time.
This is what I suggest
What
you
do we
do.
need, 4?
This is
4 for
what-
that district, 4 for that district?
This is what I suggest you do. Do not let anyone except your delegate order the paperwork. Because ultimately, when the papers are turned in, it's the delegate's name at the top of them. Ultimately, they will be responsible. So your delegate, whoever that you select to do that, should get the paperwork and should interface with the Congressional District Liaison for the Ron Paul meetups and distribute them that way. And then they should all come back to the delegate because the delegate's ultimately going to be, whoever's name is at the top of the heap, buddy, that's who's ultimately responsible. Because I know if I were a delegate, I would not want someone turning in signatures that I personally have not examined. Because I want to be able to redline them myself and say, okay, that one's not going to count, that one's not going to count, and doggone it, I don't have enough. And here's the thing, if you get challenged off the ballot on fraudulent signatures, and believe me, the Republican Party, doesn't matter if it's an honest mistake, they're going to say you committed fraud. That person whose name is at the top of the heap there, the delegate, if they're charged with fraud and convicted of fraud, they can never serve in any elective office in Pennsylvania ever. So ultimately, the delegate, if I'm a delegate, and I'm not saying I want to be a delegate, but if I were the person, and I've done this
That's
in
another
every
question for you.
in every race I've ever run, I have examined every single one of the signatures because I personally would be responsible and I would be the one taking